says, I will target you. See your click and your spell pierce, and Lossett will decide what to do.
Probably not touching the spell pierce at this stage of the game.
Lossett in his hand does have a copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor,
so maybe he is.
Along with a Wear and Tear and a Venser Shaper Savant. So interesting stuff here between these two great players. So what we have here is a little bit of a Vendilion Click battle. It looks like Janasieqicz's was on the stack. Joe played his, got a look at Janasieqicz's hand, said you can keep your cards. Now Janasiewicz is resolving his, targeting Joe, seeing the Jace, the Venser, and the split card, and deciding what he wants to do about those. Looks like Venser is going to go away. A new card here coming for Joe.
Jason feeling that he has enough of a board here to win a fight over Jace. But Venser is just going to be kind of annoying in this sort of game.
Tropical Island to draw. That's the green necessary to gain life off of Deathrite Shaman. Oftentimes they one of in this Esper Deathblade deck. Liliana's going to get cashed in. Bye Vendilion Click. In comes Janasieqicz's click. Lossett's going to go down to 15. Janasiewicz going to play the Tropical Island, so Lossett knows exactly what's going on in Janasiewicz's hand.
Still just click plus pierce.
Yep. He might pass the turn back here in just a moment. We'll see. Lossett's going to sacrifice the Flooded Strand, go down to 14, search up a land, and shuffle that Venser back into the deck that was placed on the bottom.
I wonder if Jason wants to use his Deathrite here preemptively at all. Joe often would Snapcaster Mage in his build. If you're going to use your Deathrite no matter what, there's often not that much upside in waiting.
Time for Joe to draw a card. An island's what he's found. That's a Brainstorm. 3 cards coming here for Lossett. Of course, 2 will be going back in just a moment. With a pretty big draw step there. Looks like he's found another copy of Jace.
The Pyroblast as well, though keep in mind, Jason with a backup copy of Vendilion Click in hand.
Looks like Wear, Tear, and Island are going to go back here for Joe. Forget how he wants to order them. You see, we're about 10 minutes left in the game. There's a Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn back. That'll give Joe a red source if he needs it. Deathrite Shaman going to take care of something in the graveyard. There goes the Brainstorm. So Lossett down to 12. Janasieqicz will draw a card. It's a copy of Flooded Strand, it looks like. He's going to attack here for 3. See if Lossett wants to do anything about this. It looks like he does. So he's going to sacrifice the Scalding Tarn and go to 11 before damage.
Not a great use of a Pyroblast here, if that's what Joe's planning on doing, just because Jason does have the one on backup. But the amount of damage he's taking is really adding up, especially in the face of the Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, it looks like he just wants to kind of keep his head above water, get through this point in the game. You see the Flood Strand's going to come into play. Lossett will untap. Mystery card coming. He does know about the Spell Pierce that's over there. You can tell he's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to pass the turn back. A lot of 4 mana spells in hand.
Yeah, very clunky hand.
There's a V-Click. Lossett's hand, clunky yet powerful. A Venser and 2 Jaces. Janasieqicz says, I will target you. Looks like Joe may have a response here with Venser. And he does.
Joe does not want the Venser to be selected here by Vendilion Click because the rest of his hand is just copies of Jace.
He's going to target Deathrite Shaman. There will be an activation here in response. Janasieqicz is going to remove the Pyroblast. So the Venser bounce now resolves. Vendilion Click in now. Again, targeting Joe. Jace. Would you like to take one of these?
Imagine Jason is saying, you can keep them.
Yep. And we're going to go back Janasieqicz's way. He will draw a card. It's a copy of Underground Sea. So he's flooding a little bit here.
Though Joe does not have a lot of time to get out of this problem.
There's Deathrite. There's an attack for 3. Lossett's down to 6. You mentioned time is not on Joe's side. He's got those 2 copies of Jace. Did not get a great look at what he drew. This will be an attack for 2. Janasieqicz is going to go down to 12. And Lossett's just going to pass the turn back. That is a brand new Deathrite Shaman, so that's not going to happen.
Yep, there.
So game state will be fixed, as that is an illegal game action.
I'm surprised Joe did not try to resolve one of his Jaces there.
I'm a little surprised too, though I don't know what the card is that he drew.
Sure, that might influence things a little bit, but I feel like you can't take him with you. He's close to dying. Unless he drew something good and something that can punch through a Spell Pierce, then I think he has to sort of make his trade at some point.
Well, here's an attack. Yeah, it looks like he drew something relevant. It's been dealing click.
All right, there. All right,
Makes sense.
there you go.
So that's in. Yeah, Chase is going to the bottom. He can't target himself fast enough. He'd rather take a mystery card, and he'd like to block. That'll work. Janasieqicz's draw was a Thoughtseize, and now he will fire that off. It's a Jason and Arid Mesa, so there goes Jace. Janasieqicz left with a Spell Pierce in hand.
Joe now drawing very live.
Game has changed quite a bit. Lossett will draw. It's a copy of Terminus that he will cast.
Makes a lot of sense for Joe to want to reset the game here. And he falls to 4, but he's got a lot more powerful draw steps than Jason does.
Venture to the bottom. Same with Deathrite Shaman. Janasieqicz is going to untap and draw a card. It's a copy of Thoughtseize. The card in Joe's hands was an Arid Mesa. It's in play now, so that doesn't help.
I'm not sure what the incentive is for Jason to continue to play his lands here, because I think he wants to be able to shuffle back if he draws a Brainstorm. You see Joe just drew a land. He's not putting that into play.
Yep, Liliana the draw. And see if the coast is clear. Here's a Thoughtseize. There's an island. Coast is clear for the Planeswalker. So that's going to come into play. Elevator goes up to 4. There goes the island.
And by playing the land, now he's lost a Spell Pierce. So if Joe rips it in treat here, it's so much worse for Jason than it would have been if he was able to hold the Spell Pierce in his hand.
If Joe rips in treat, the game is probably over.
Yeah.
Some slight missteps here, potentially, from Janasieqicz.
I think he was just a little too aggressive putting extra lands into play that he didn't need to go near.
That's what makes Legacy complicated. When you're supposed to play your lands, or when you're supposed to hold them for a card like Brainstorm or situations like this.
So many of the matches are, or enough of the matches are, oh, I'm playing Burn, I played against Timfin, so I just lost, where it's easy to lose sight of the nuances that can be in so many of these games.
Draw. Not a great look, but it's a spell, because he's going reaching. I think it's Jace. Oh, boy. The Mind Sculptor is here. Set. He's going to have to figure out how he wants to use this. We got 4 minutes to go.
I like Joe Fate Sealing himself, because he's unlikely to be able to draw something that he can then cast, so Liliana's Plus just eats it up. And there's not a lot of point in Fate Sealing Jason because he has the fetch land. So I would prefer, I think, for Joe to improve his own draw step, or at least try to.
Well, he looks like he's Fate Sealing himself. Scalding Tarn to the bottom. Pass the turn back over to Janasieqicz. He'll draw a card. It's a copy of Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite comes into play. Liliana takes up, pass the turn back over to Lossett, who will draw a card. Did not get a great look at it. No, Brainstorming with Jace is probably pretty appealing now. About 3 minutes to go here in this match between these players. It will be a Brainstorm.
Yeah, Joe needs help.
3 cards, one of them is a counterbalance.
Modern players, that is time in the round.
One of them looks to also be a copy of Entreat the Angels. Again, Lossett has not played a land yet this turn. He has to be very careful how he sets this up.
Yeah, this is the little game right here.
It's an interesting little game of cat and mouse with the counterbalance too. What do you want to leave on top? Because I think he's going to put Jace on the bottom and Treat on top so he can draw it next turn. Play counterbalance, play the fetch land.
Yeah.
I think maybe his line of play this turn.
Well, he can't do anything with the fetch line because he's going to get death righted down to 1. Maybe he still plays it because why not? Maybe he gains life somewhere down the line, but not a lot of upside in putting the land into play.
Draw a card. Didn't get a great look at Janasieqicz's draw.
I believe it was a Flusterstorm.
Yep, there goes the land. Pass the turn back. Lossett will draw. It's a copy of Entreat the Angels.
And getting rid of that Flusterstorm there now allows Joe to entreat, bounce the Deathrite Shaman, and steal this game.
It gets a little interesting now because he's going to bounce this. He'll pass the turn back.
There's 4 Angels. He can Liliana down 1.
Well, he's gonna, the ultimate on Liliana is available.
Oh.
So that's where the game gets interesting because now it's, you keep all of your stuff and lose your Angels, and that's not going to do it because now he's got an active Jace going. So that's what's going to end up happening.
He could split 2 Angels against 2 Angels if he drew a removal spell and be okay, but that's not happening.
Joe Lossett is going to win this match here over Jason Janasieqicz. 2-1. A miracle at the top of the deck will get the job done. And for Lossett, he's 6-1. Might be able to draw on the top 8.